What's up, Noodles? So we are back. Today we're going to be taking a look at upgrading and ascending characters. So you'll notice the next plot quest is to own a certain level of Warriors. So we'll go and take a look at our Warriors and go from there. And one thing to consider when upgrading a unit and potentially ascending them is what they get from Ascension. So, you can click on these to look at their info here. You can also click on Ascension to see what mats are required to ascend them. And then you can also click on the level up info and see kind of what happens from here. So one thing to note, whenever an Aurorian goes from no ascensions to one ascension, they get an equipment skill. So an equipment skill is like an augmented, something that either changes their abilities or affects how they play. It's actually pretty interesting as opposed to just does more damage. There's more to it than that. So in this case, we'll take a look at Vice's equipment skill. Vice has a very good equipment. So you can see here, Vice gains 1 stack of locking mark whenever she deals damage. Each stack increases damage by 1%. All stacks are cleared at the end of the round. So this is a couple of implications. The first one is, because her active skill deals damage multiple times, she has an opportunity to have several stacks before you even go through the turn and attack things. The other reason this is strong is if you do an active skill, then walk through and attack things, she's still getting marks. And if you manage to trigger an Aurora time, she will then be able to have those stacks you'd imagine for that next turn as well. So whatever her next chambers is after that would also have these stacks as well. So that seems very, very strong. So highly considering her. Now let's take a look also at Kleck and our other 5-star for water. So his is, upon using a chain combo, inflicts fright for 1 round if the enemy's HP is below 25%. So this is a pretty strong crowd control ability, so pretty good for fighting off multiple weak mobs. There are some levels where literally you're probably not going to be able to kill the mobs. It's the objective is to just survive for a certain number of rounds, so this could be useful for something like that, so something to consider. However, because Vice is our leader and she's going to get activation chain burst from any of her color tiles that we use, we're going to go ahead and upgrade Vice. So you'll see I have some level up material here. This is from using, I used some prisms before I stopped last time to get some of these. Now you'll notice this costs quite a bit of Nidium, which is the... Oh, she hit next level, of course. Uses quite a bit of Nidium, which is the kind of in-game gold currency. And I'm going to be a little bit kind of mathematically effective here to make sure I'm not wasting Nidium or resources for experience. So these smaller ones give an additional 50% XP over a regular smaller one. But you'll notice, however, that if I use one of these, I only need 50 more, which I can't... I'm going to be overcapping if I use one of the smaller ones. So since I'm using a water team, I'm going to go ahead and just use 2 of the regular ones to get to 30. Cool, we did it. So now you notice we've hit the level cap, so we can ascend. However, we're missing some mats. Now these mats, when we click on them, kind of tell us where we are able to acquire them. So you can tell I won't be able to ascend Vice for a little bit, because the first one where they become really available is in the mid of World 2, so 2.6 here and 2.11. Mid percent is not typically what you want to go for. You want to go for regular drop. Now, there are going to be harder to acquire materials that don't have regular drop or even a mid percentage roll, in which case we'll have to do those when we get to them, but those are typically for Ascension 3 or higher level equipment upgrades. Another thing that's nice is because we are still getting story quests, if you'll notice from when we were doing these plot quests, we sometimes get level up or Ascension materials from here. So we're not going to see these are both Ascension materials. So we're not going to try too hard to farm this Ascension material specifically. Right now, we'll maybe just level up our characters a little bit just to make the clearing process that much smoother. But in general, we should be kind of okay there. Now, another thing we got here is an opening of our daily quests. So daily quests activate each day, and as we don't have to do every single one. We just have to do, because there's technically 150 worth of activity value. You really only need to get to 100 to get the daily rewards, because these, which are activity, don't actually have any value on their own. They only are valuable in so much that you can get to 100. So we want to get to 100 by the end of the day, which resets at a different time. I'm in a different time zone, I think, than most people, so my time of reset isn't going to be the same as everyone else's, but it's kind of around midnight or the start of the day for the global server if you're living in America. Another thing from the quests here, so there's the growth quests, which you'll see once you've completed 3 in a row, you can claim and get a reward there, so that's nice. Got some Luminary Mercenarium. We'll probably just take a look at these while we're on it, just so that we can kind of see what they look like. So change the assistant. The assistant is in the profile and lets you pick, which character you have here on the home screen. So we're going to go ahead and change it to, let's change it to Klecken. It's pretty cool. And so that lets us claim this one. And then here it has a hazard chapter. So this is one of them, the hazard chapter being the red chapter. And so this is basically just prompting us to clear the first boss level. We are just going to try it. And you'll notice here that this has a connect normal attack 10 times or remaining rounds more than 6. So both of these kind of rely on us doing damage. There isn't a health threshold requirement. And you'll notice they're still below level, but we're going to leave it as is. We should be fine. And skip the cutscene again. And here we are to the boss battle. So the boss has several mechanics. You'll notice that he will be switching. So he has kind of this wide range area of effect in front of him. He will sometimes also, I believe this is the boss, that will sometimes switch to this portion of the screen. There are certain things to consider for chain bursts that maybe, you saw Dana's from before activates in like 3 columns. So that's going to be pretty strong to hit him from the front, but even stronger if you can line it up to hit every single one of his initial tiles if he was on this side, for example. So just something to consider. Now we do see his attack range will hit us if we stay within that attack range. So kind of as the game recommends, I'm going to go ahead and stay outside that attack range, but still get a chain burst off. And I made a little mistake. I didn't tap that yellow tile, but it's not a big deal. Okay. Similar thing here. So he's going to charge power for the impending storm, which means we kind of have a turn here to get off a little bit more of an attack. And I'm actually going to kind of do as suggested. Now, part of why I'm going to do this, I want to be near green tiles to convert with Klecken next round, but we can also just take this green to escape in pretty much any direction, so it's fine to be here in the center. Now, we ended up rolling these as green anyway, but just to be sure. So there's that objective. So here is his new attack range, and you can see it without having to mouse over him because it's kind of showing us. It wants us to get there and stop because that would give us kind of the higher multiplier that's possible. But let's take a look here. So this is an option. We could also full reroll, which I might do just to see what we get because it looks like he'll also be hit several times. That's pretty good. Or we could be using something like Miss Blanc and then Klecken, who would then convert some of these other green tiles and still keep us within a safe range. So let me double check here. See, we still have quite a few blues right outside of that range, so I'm going to try the reroll. Let's do the reset. Okay, cool. So we got some blues. let's hit our actives and see what we can do. So now, as long as I can find one of these tiles to safely remain on, we will be okay in terms of damage. Now, unfortunately, one of the disadvantages to only having one blue tile here is as soon as we go through this blue tile, no matter what we do over here, we don't have a way to make it back to the boss. So we'll want to make sure if we're doing that, we are moving in a way that is appropriate for us. So I'm going to start toward the back here, go like this, and then maybe go like this. Actually, I'm close enough to Aurora time. We're just gonna go all the way. But you see how strong it can be to just basically walk down the line in front of the boss, because you can do a bunch of damage while stacking your multiplier. And I'm safely outside the range of his attack, so we should be good. Now, I do want to probably use some of these reds just so I can get a Vice chain off and burn through some of them. But again, I don't want to be in a position where I'm going to take any of these attacks. So I suspected he dropped some stuff on us overhead and then changed position, so he's now on that side. So let's see where he's going to attack from. Okay. And we have high health and we have Zoya active. So let's just do this. Also worth noting, we have quite a few rounds left, so we should be okay. We want to try to beat him with 6 left, and we've only used a couple of them already at that point, so it should be okay. And this is where having our leader leveled up is really good, because we were able to do a decent amount of damage, even though we could only attack with so many units it was. So let's convert and blast since we got some actives up. Now, one thing to note here is Klecken will convert tiles under the boss, so unfortunate that we can't make use of some more of these green tiles out here, but that's kind of how it is. Very strong dice. So I want to make sure, as it's suggesting, that I use as many tiles as I can. Now, I'm not going to follow that exact recommended route because I want to do the highest multiplier I can for the tiny bit of connection time I get on the boss. And then I'm just going to go straight into Aurora time. I'm not sure we'll need it, but... So that may have been a mistake. There may have been an opportunity for me to stop earlier and actually get that tiny bit of extra damage that we needed to finish the boss. But I think we should be fine with something like this in any case. Cool, so there's the quest done, there's the first boss done, and that should be, since I did the Dana S quest earlier, that should be a roll from this, and then that should also be a roll from, of course, yes, the quests. You'll see here how we're getting some of those Ascension mats that we would have otherwise mentioned. But first, I want to go to here, and then I'm going to hit, so back to episode 1, chapter reward, and we completed all the stars in the chapter, so we get an extra roll from there as well. And then we also get some from achievements. So I didn't collect any of these just to kind of show, but you can hit claim all over here. And another thing worth noting is once your achievement points get to a certain level, if you click on reward here, you will get bonus Loom Amber for certain achievement point thresholds. So a little bit of rewards there. Very nice. So we also got a 10 roll, probably from beating the first chapter. So let's do some rolls. I am going to use my first couple on the starter banner just to see if we can't get our 6 stars soon here. Cool, another achievement. I'm hitting skip, but so many of these are new that it's just going to make me watch it anyway. I don't know that I've really used Brock, so I might have to... This might be the opportunity to try him out. And there's a chainsaw. Okay, let's go over to... Now this might not be a good idea because, of course, I want to make this kind of future-proof, but I really like and want either or both of these characters. So just in the spirit that if a character looks cool or is someone that you want to play with, Migard is a very, very strong forest sniper. I use her on my main account. She is my highest level ascended whatever character. Super fun to play with. I do kind of want to do new stuff with this account, but having a character that's really fun to play is part of the reason to play games like this. So I'm going to do a 10 pull here. And then Iridon, if you remember in the first episode, I mentioned how strong Nadine was being able to place tiles kind of across the map to connect things. Iridon is like that on steroids. She's a very, very good 6 star. So we're going to go ahead and throw a 10 pull at this one, just to see if we can get lucky. All right, well, that's a 5 star at least. Jamu? I have so many Ricks, dude. Ooh, Yuria. So this is a character that avoided me on my main account for a very long time. She is like the quintessential green healer while you're starting out. And so it was very difficult playing green without a healer. I kind of had to try very, very hard to beat some levels while staying above 50% without her assistance. So. Ooh. Odie, nice. Okay. I have kind of like the makings of a green poison team, it looks like. Odie's another character that has kind of poison mechanics, so maybe worth looking into. And Unimet is another of those characters like Nadine that's a support with the ability to, throw tiles, throw electric tiles that can be super useful. So pretty cool there. And then, yeah, we're going to keep rolling in this banner just because I, at some point, will be getting toward Pity, which is an increase in the percent chance to roll a 6 star. So we're just going to stay on this one for a little bit. All 4 of these characters are pretty stellar, so just saying. You can roll them on this banner, whereas the beginner banner doesn't have the same benefits. Alright, so you see here, like, you get activity, it unlocks the bonus package, and you claim the bonus package like this. I do want to probably finish up my dailies for today, but this is probably a pretty good stopping point for the video as I get into World 2. I might upgrade Klecken or another one of 2 of my water attribute characters here, like Misheni. Might look into Jane. But otherwise, I'm going to just continue to play like normal. Thanks for watching.